Hello, how are you doing today? Look at this. Don't bother with any countdowns or any of that nonsense these days. No time for all of that with all these videos to make. Hey Carly, great to see you here. The perfect person, in fact. In fact, it could be just me and you having a chat, really, because today I'm talking about Kajabi. Yesterday, I did my video on checklists, and I didn't get time to run through my own checklist, and so I started my live stream yesterday morning with no mic working. And the reason why I didn't run through my checklist is because I was hurriedly throwing together a lead magnet page on my Kajabi website so that I could share the checklist that I hadn't used myself with anybody watching the stream. The way that I did it was I actually created a page in Kajabi. Whoops-a-daisy. Way that I did it was actually create a page in Kajabi. What I thought I'd do is just go through the two different potential ways you can do it, because actually there is obviously the whole what do they call it? The pipeline process as well. So create a pipeline in Kajabi as opposed to create a separate an actual page. I did the page way just because it was the easiest and quickest for me to get it all done, including creating the graphics and everything like that in 30 minutes. So that's why I did it that way. But I then did a video. Oh, hey, Sammy. Great to see you here. I then did a video yesterday as well about keyboard shortcuts for Ecamm Live. So I wanted to create a digital download for that as well as a lead magnet on the page, on the site rather. So I did that using the pipeline method. So I thought what I'd do is just cover off those two different ways of having lead magnets and digital downloads on a Kajabi site, because the pipeline way is obviously the sort of ready-made automated way, but the thing you can't do with that is assign a custom URL. So for example, let me just type this in here. If I include the URL, I can't speak and type at the same time. There we go. Let me put that in there. The Ecamm Live keyboard shortcuts PDF that I created yesterday, that's the URL for it. So it's got this kind of, takeonetech.io/pl/21475844161. So it just kind of rolls off the tongue. Whereas the one that I did for my checklists is takeonetech.io/checklist. And it's that simple. So you can assign those particular URLs. I know that you can do these with third-party services. I'm forgetting the name of them now. The ones that I don't use, where you can assign URLs to, create custom URLs and stuff like that. But I'm not using one of those at the moment. So this is just the little point about that. Hey, Dina. Great to see you popping in. I've been meaning, by the way, just as a little aside, to go around my garden with my camera and get some shots of all the fruit and stuff like that. I've literally got mangoes. If you hear this as we're on the stream, it is a mango falling on the roof because they're literally just falling off, and I've got a mango tree that comes over the top. So it's that time of year when they're all deciding to drop at the moment. They're dropping quicker than we can pick them. So anyway, that's a bit of a digression from Kajabi, isn't it? I'll post some pictures a bit later. So with Kajabi, the way that I did it yesterday for the live stream checklist that I should have followed myself looked something like this. So this is basically a page on my website. You can tell it's a page on the website because it's got all of the menu things up at the top there, and you can add other elements. So because this was a live streaming checklist, I figured, well, it might be the case that people who are looking for this might be interested in Ecamm Live. So I've also added, you can drop in like different courses and stuff like that. And since there's only one up there at the moment, there's only one here. But that is it basically. It's a page on the website. So you've got the website footer, which is just sneaking off the bottom of the page there. There we go. Got the website footer down there and got the header, and this is basically just a page. A quite poorly designed page, I have to say. I did a better job of the image for the shortcuts one, but basically just the image with the form on there for people to fill out to get their free download, and then that added them in and tagged them on various different things. So I'll go through that method. So that is creating a page on the Kajabi site. This one was the opt-in page that I did using Kajabi's pipelines, and this one is a sort of step-by-step process. You just basically drop in all the different information and it basically creates it for you, really. And you'll notice that there is nothing on this page except the actual call to action that you want people to follow. So this was for the keyboard shortcuts for Ecamm Live, and the only thing people can do from this page is literally enter their name and email and then click on the Get It Now button, and that'll cause a series of actions. So yeah, as I say, this page was created literally, I created the graphic and everything within 30 minutes before my live stream yesterday, so a little bit hurried with it, whereas this one I spent a little bit more time on, certainly on the graphic at least anyway. So let me show you the two different ways to do this then. So first of all, there is pipelines. And by the way, this is really, the way that you would do it. The idea of having, separate pages for all these things, the idea of rough, just lost completely my train of thought there. The idea of having like individual pages on your website for all of your landing pages, where they've all got the specific slug and URL, is not necessarily the way you'd go. You would go with pipelines, which are where you're taking people through a specific structured funnel or process. I notice how they have changed it to pipelines rather than funnels, but these are sales funnels. This is just what a sales funnel is. And so in fact here you can see the one for the keyboard shortcuts. And all that is basically an opt-in page where somebody is entering their name and details, email address. Then it sends out an email, but it does also send them to a thank you page, which is where the download is. Now, I added in a little extra step here, but let's just, before I get ahead of myself, let's actually see how easy it is to create one of these in Kajabi. So you just click on New Pipeline. These are all different kinds of sales funnels, by the way. So like a product, let's just have a look at some of them. Product launch pipeline. So that's where you've got some new course or something like that you are launching, and then you would have an opt-in page. This has got a 10 email sequence. So that's basically like in the run-up to the launch of the event or whatever it is. Then you'd be sending out a stream of emails, sending them through to the sort of pre-launch pages, basically, where you're going to deliver value. So it's not just about, hey, look at me all the time. The idea is with each of these, and you can see in there, in fact, it says a value. In fact, my Pro Mouse has just suddenly stopped working today, but there you go. It says value 1, value 2, value 3. So the idea is that these are videos where you're going to deliver value and so on. So there is these sort of pre-made templates, and they're all like standard templates that you can get in ClickFunnels and things like that. They're just standard processes that work, like an opt-in, an email series, a sales page and checkout, all that sort of stuff. I'll be doing some webinars, by the way, for my for my Zoom course. That's part of the way that I'm going to market it. So apart from, obviously, I'll be talking about it on the channel and stuff like that, but actually the Zoom course, rather than the Ecamm course, the Zoom course itself, I will be running specific webinars for that. So I'll be using the webinar funnel. But for the freebie, it says there, that's basically a lead magnet. So where it says freebie, that means a lead magnet, which is something that you're giving to somebody for free in exchange for their email address and name. And you can see this is the process. And so all you do is just click on Create Pipeline, give it a name. So this one, I'm actually going to recreate the checklist one and then pick a file. So all you do here is look for the file that you want to include. So I have one in here which is called checklist somewhere. Live stream checklist rather than Ecamm checklist, isn't it? So there you go. So you just drag and drop it onto the page. Remind us again sorry, I'm just noticing this thing. Remind us again why you didn't customize the link for the shortcuts PDF. I'll come to that in a minute then. Maybe I missed something. Could have been me. It's quite often human error with me. I'll come to that as we go through this one. So generate pipeline. So this is now going to create the one for the checklist. And 1 second, generating opt-in page, generating a thank you page. And then we've got this thing here. So with the opt-in page, if I click on this one, it's basically just going to ask me what information I want to put in here. So this is where you'd go and change sort of all of this sort of thing. I'll just put some dummy text in here for now. Get your live stream checklist. Just like that. So you're basically changing in here and it's changing in here. I added in an image as well of it, but basically this is where you set up that. So you're just changing the text in these things. Is it almost giving you, you know, what to write? So let your user know exactly what they'll receive after opting in. So it's telling you basically what to put in these places. Having built quite a lot of funnels in the past, this is all really accurate sort of stuff that they're telling you to put in here. So if it's literally, the thing I like about it is if you just do what they say, then it's a good definitely a good start. So then I'm just looking if there is a place in here to edit the actual URL of that. So I don't think so. So I can save that though. So that has saved this sort of information. So obviously you'd go through and put a bit more. I will go through and put an image in and stuff like that. You can change the disclaimer text, things like that. You can change what's on the actual button as well. And there we go. Let's have a little look what else we've got in here. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything for the URL. So let's just say that that's done. Again, you would go in and put in a bit more information, but you can see how it's basically sort of guiding you through the process. So that was the first sort of opt-in page, and you can see here it's sort of telling you which bits you've done. So you've done the opt-in page. Now it's prompting to do the thank you page as well. So you can come over to the thank you page. It's basically the way that this is going to work is they put in the name and email address. It's going to send them an email or put them into an email sequence or tag them or something like that, which we'll come to. But then it's going to take them through to this thank you page where there's a thing to download now. So it's just telling you here, you know, to give them instructions on how to download, and it's pretty much got it for you. You know, click the button below to get your free download. You might want to add some specifics about exactly what it is they're downloading, that sort of thing. But again, here you can also add in more content. So Kajabi's got this way that you just sort of click here to add more content. You could add all sorts of different things, you know, some images, other offers or things like that, and so on. So you can just add in different elements. So I'm not going to go through all of this at the moment. I've got some videos that I'm going to do as part of my CEDA series, which are about specific elements of Kajabi. But for the time being, I'm just going to crack on with this. Let's just assume that we've done that and say, yeah, that's okay. And then let's have a look. Keep editing. Or is it saying that I haven't edited it yet? Maybe that's what it is. 1 second. I'll just edit that a little bit. There we go. And we'll save that one. And the thing that you can do here is, so if I click on save now and then exit this part of the pipeline. So basically we've looked at the opt-in page and we've looked at the thank you page. So what else we've got in here though is we have got this this email sequence. So if you click on this one, this is where you can control what's going to happen. And here you can be quite clever. So first of all, the actual email itself. So this is where you can actually insert a welcome message and thank you for adding them to their list. And oh, that's interesting, Carly. That is really interesting. It's in the edit detail in the pages, is it? Ah. Well, thank you very much. I've learned something now. Now, what I did in this email message was, as well as you know, saying thank you and everything like that, I actually also included a separate download link in here because sometimes people enter the details on a website. Maybe they're on the mobile or something like that, and they click on it and they go to get a download for a PDF, and it's on the mobile. It's not easily accessible to them, or they, you know, they want it on their computer or something. So I do include a link to download the PDF from here as well. So in that case, you know, apart from, you know, saying hi, you know, and whatever else I'm going to say, then you can also attach the file here. So then the email would say something like, in case you didn't manage to download it from the web, or you didn't see how to download it, then I've also got it. You can also just download it from here at any time. And then it also means that they can come back and get it later as well. You know, if they lose it or something like that. And so you can just attach a download, click download now, and then basically you've just embedded it in there as an email, as a link. In the case of that particular thing that I did yesterday with the shortcuts, I've obviously, since I've got the Ecamm Live Masterclass, which I've mentioned enough, I'm not going to go over it again today, but that was also linked in there as well. So, if you find this useful, it was actually created for the Ecamm Live Masterclass in any case. That's why I actually made it with that. It's all sort of branded as that. So I just included a link to that for them to go and check out the masterclass as well. So that is the email part of it, but then there's lots of other things you can do in here. So for example, if I just save that actual email and then come back out to the actual checkout email sequence, here you can do other things like, for example, so I want to tag everybody that's received this. So I've created some tags. And then you can just create a list of tags. So my Ecamm Live shortcuts. Thanks for the link, Carly. I've created a tag for shortcuts and things like that, because then I'm going to know exactly what different things and which downloads people have had. So that if I want to send a mail out with an update to it or something like that, then I'll know who's already received it. But then also you can do some things a little bit later on where you're sort of creating custom lists where you're combining different things. So if somebody maybe has downloaded this particular thing, which is related to Ecamm Live, then at some point I might want to give them a special offer on the masterclass, for example. But if they've already signed up for the masterclass, then it's a bit pointless. So having a series of tags in here is definitely a useful thing, so that you can sort of categorize people and understand what they have got, because there's nothing worse than getting I say there's nothing worse. There are plenty of things worse, but it's not a good form to be offering people discounts on things that they've already bought, for example, because then you get the questions of, I've already bought this. Can I have, a partial refund or things like that? Or just the fact that it shows that you don't really know who's doing what with your products and things like that. So definitely make sure you've got good tags in there. And you can do things with the automations like add things like add a tag, for example. So let's just say this one was for the shortcuts, for example, but then add a condition like except if they are, on the masterclass or things like that. So there's lots of different conditions you can add in there. So that is how to basically just set up this process. So you can see that that's pretty quick to sort of put that together. If you've got like a couple of graphics or things like that you're going to include, then that is a quick process. Now, Carly has just said, I love it when I learn something. And that happens all the time because I'm often screwing myself up. There is a way to customize the URL. You go into Pages and select Edit Details. So the point of this was, if I go back into this one here, we've got this button here, Share Pipeline. So that's where I'd got my URL from before. So what Carly's saying is, if I go into Pages, because incidentally, this was the other way that I was going to do it. I see it's all over there as well. Perfect. Well, that makes things a lot better. So here I can go into the Ecamm Live shortcuts, hopefully. And can I change the URL in there? So opt in, edit details. Carly, you are a genius. That is perfect. So you can actually edit it in there. So I can just go in there. Changing the URL will break external links to this items page. Well, I'll probably leave it on this one then, because I have actually already posted it in different places. But then presumably I can just change that URL there and have it something that makes sense. I'll probably just duplicate that whole pipeline actually, and then do it with the correct URL, so you can actually shorten it. So that's a bit of a it's a bit of a shame they don't make that more obvious in here, so that you could just actually, like, when you share it out, perhaps change it in here. But anyway, that's never mind. At least you can do it. So that takes away one of the things that I was just saying about this, is because I don't like these URLs where you've just got like a string of letters and things like that. It's much easier if people can just remember it, isn't it? So yeah. That is perfect. Thank you very much. Well, that is one thing I'm going to do as soon as I get off this stream is do that. So that is the way that and indeed I can come and add in some extra stuff down here like SEO. So it's basically just, you can do all the stuff that you can do with pages. Perfect. So the way that I did it yesterday, though, for when I was just sort of throwing something up there with my other, the live stream checklist, is I did actually just create a page. And so with that one, the only step that I had to do extra with that one was, let me have a look. It was adding in the form. So with this one, it's basically just a page. I added in the elements manually, but I did need to create a custom form. So the way that I did that was, now that I'm seeing what Carly's saying about being able to change the URL, this was totally, the pipeline way is just totally the way to go every time. But what I did do was I created a form called, which one was it? The checklist, this one, checklist lead magnet. And all I did with that was I'd got the name and the email, but then when the form is submitted, what I did with that is I just added an automation to send an email. And so when the email was sent, which one was it? It was this one. So when it sent the email, it basically just sent the email with where's it gone? I need to edit it, don't I? That's what I need to do. Pressing the wrong button. So it basically just sent an email with the download link. So this one didn't have an option to download it on the page. It just sent it with the download link. And then here's this bit, which is the thing about the Ecamm Live masterclass. So that is the other way that you could do it. The thing about doing it this way is you've then got it on a page. And the whole point about things like this is you just want people to go to a landing page where they're given an option. And the option is, do you want it or not, basically. Whereas with this one, the option is, do you want it or not? Or do you want to get distracted by some of these things up here and start clicking around? And so, the idea is to basically minimize any of those sorts of things and come to this one. What I might do today is make a pipeline actually for in fact, I've already done it and I haven't switched it on yet, but make a pipeline for I just need to make the videos. Do a pipeline for the masterclass itself, because at the moment I've basically just got a sales page for that. And the reason why I didn't do it, I'm still in two minds about it really. I probably should just create one. Is where has it gone? The Ecamm Live Masterclass. So this would be, at the moment, if anyone's been to that URL, it basically just goes to a checkout page. So it just goes to a checkout page with the video. In fact, let's just go to have a look at that now so that you can see what I'm talking about. It's basically just a checkout page with a video on it. So you go to this page and there's a checkout page and a video. There's no form to fill out to get through to this stage. And so I'm in two minds about doing that with the Ecamm one, just because I know that Ecamm themselves are actually sending people over here. And so I don't want to appear to be basically just sort of using it as a way to gather email addresses. I know that we are doing that. That's part of the reason of having lead magnets and stuff like that, is to build our email database. But with this one, I left it purposely like that, knowing that Ecamm themselves are sending stuff over, so that it's not just a case of they're sending people over to me for me to grab their email addresses. Do you see what I mean? So that's why I've just sort of left that like that. However, what I do want to do is just sort of change the appearance of this so that it's and certainly if you look at this on mobile, I can change this around, but if you look at it on mobile, you've basically got the checkout thing first before the video. So I want to just play around with this and make it a little bit more streamlined so that the video is topmost. The video is a little bit out of date because I've added quite a few more videos since this as well, so I'll probably just remake that video today. Let's have a little look. It is indeed great. Many conditions are in the automations, and I've said it before, but I mean, coming from the sort of ClickFunnels world, I just find the whole sort of mechanism. I find the whole mechanism of creating these things and these conditions, it is so much simpler in Kajabi. And I kind of liken it a little bit to, I used PC for years. So I switched to a Mac actually about the time that I moved to Thailand 16 years ago. I was a Vista casualty for Windows, which was Vista was terrible, and so I switched. So that's my sort of Mac history. But I liken this a bit to switching to a Mac from a PC. That for years I didn't have any problem with a PC. I was, perfectly happy with it, because I thought that's the way that things were. And then when I started using a Mac, I thought like, oh, this is so much simpler. And that's kind of like how it's been with ClickFunnels, because they've gone through quite a lot of development at ClickFunnels, and they've added in new functionality and things like that. And so these new things that have been added in, it's just been a case of, oh, we've got this new thing now that we can work with. But actually, when you sort of come over and try Kajabi from ClickFunnels, you realize that, there's an easier way to do all of this. So I was fine on ClickFunnels until I actually saw the light. So thanks, Carly, for the recommendation and persisting. It's a bit like Keeley with Discord. Eventually I see the light with enough prodding and guidance. So it is great, how many different things there are with those automations. Let's have a little look. So how did I create that mock-up? I actually created that in Photoshop. I just literally went to, let me see if I can get it up. I went to Adobe Stock and got a went and got the picture of like the person. I'm presuming, by the way, just let me grab that so that you can have a little look. I'm presuming that you meant, whoops, daisy. It's got my Photoshop's just taken over my full screen there. Don't want that. I'm assuming that you mean this thing. Wherever it's gone, this one. So I'm assuming you mean this thing. That thing there with the picture of the person holding the checklist. So that one was I went to I downloaded from Adobe Stock. I downloaded a picture of the person holding a blank piece of paper, and then what I did, and this is the actual checklist itself, by the way. So that's a PDF that I created in, what did I create that in? I think I just did that actually in Pages. Believe it or not, Pages or Word, maybe Word. I think probably Word, in fact. So yeah, created that in Microsoft Word, and then I created a PDF from it, and then I literally just used the screenshot to actually take a screenshot of it, and then I got this image that was just I searched for basically, what was it in Adobe Stock? It'd be the same in any of these stock things though. I searched for brochure mock-up A4 size, which is, I know, European size, isn't it? But A4 size PDF mock-up, and it had loads of pictures that were like this, people holding stuff basically. So then on in Photoshop, I just came and got the image like this, and then in this image, I'll just need to make a few things, change the shape of them a little bit. I drink a lot of tea. I'm British, so we drink a lot of tea. I mean, I've got Buy Me a Coffee on my page, but I actually only drink 2 cups of coffee every day in the morning. Generally, sometimes a little bit more, but I'm mainly throughout the day drinking tea, actually. So, yeah, I should have changed mine to Buy Me a Tea. So with this, I've basically just, I took the actual thing itself, so the actual, what's it called? The... I'm searching and looking for something at the same time. I took the image of the brochure, which is this one, this little keyboard shortcut, and then I just used the edit, what's it called, transform, and then skew, or distort rather. So if you use the distort command, you can basically drag corners and move things around. It's going to be weird now because I've already changed it and sort of locked in the layer, but basically that's what I did. So it was just a flat shape on there, and then I just aligned it up with the so that's the raw image underneath. So I lined it up with that. If I take this one off, if I put the thing over the top of it, you can see how it covers their fingers up and their arms. So I duplicated the image with this one, And then I basically, you can see how accurate I was with it. I literally just cut out around and then thought, oh yeah, that'll do. Let's scrub a bit more out around it. Covered out where the thing is going to go, but then obviously the image underneath is exactly the same. Look at that attention to detail. And then the only thing that was missing then was the actual shadow. So if you look at the page itself underneath, then there is a sort of shadow that comes down here. It's got a shadow along the edge, but that's because this is supposed to be a brochure, whereas my thing's only one page, so I didn't bother with that too much. But I did just add in the shadow for where the hands are and stuff like that. And then I think this layer's also got some other little... I just changed it because it's looking a little bit on the sort of bright white side as well, so it looked out of place. So I just added a little bit of a shade to it, so it looked a little bit more natural. So that's how I created that one, and then and then the other, that was just the mock-up that then I used in that graphic on which page was it? Where's it gone now? Yeah, this one I just added some little extra beautification to it. So that's how I did that. Hey James, I've just noticed you've popped in. Great to see you, James, as always. So yeah, that is how I did that. Canva doesn't have the distort as far as I am aware. I'm just wondering, is there another way of doing that then without I'm not a Canva person, so I'm not sure about how you would do that with Canva. Just wondering if there's some other free thing that you could use to do it with. There is actually, now that I've said that, there is actually websites that you can go to because I've used them before to make these sorts of things. They don't necessarily always look, like with somebody holding it and stuff like that, but just to make sort of brochure mock-ups. Now, I've got some of these sites somewhere. Let me just try and find one for you because I don't even think I've got it in my history anymore. I used to have it in my, not history, my bookmarks rather. There's one that is specifically for this, for making like, where you see people have got like an ebook or something like that, and they make it look like, a big, thick, encyclopedic sized book. And then you download their lead magnet, and then it's like a 2-page PDF. That's bad form as well. Making something look like it's a really meaty book and it's like a 5-page something or other is not good. So let's just have a look for book markup graphics or something like that. There will be now, is that the one that I used before? Place it. Let's have a quick look. So although this can't do like the full thing, what you can do is look, here you go. This is one. In fact, this is by Envato. So if you're using something like Envato, I don't know if you get this with the Envato subscription, but yeah, these ones. So where you can basically, so this is, let me just grab the URL. This is placeit.net. Drop that one in. There we go. So yeah, this is one where you can actually just do, just drop your image in and then it'll apply it to the book. And yeah, they've got quite a few different ones here. But yeah, this one here that looks like a big hardback book. There's so many places I've seen where it's like, oh yeah, get my free ebook, and then it's got like a massive big weighty, coffee table style book, and then it's just 2 or 3 pages. So yeah, find something that looks in keeping with the size of whatever it is that you are offering. So that was the thing about that I tried to do with this one, was I didn't bother with any sort of where's it gone? Didn't bother with any shading around the edge of it because it's literally just a single sheet. So I didn't want to make it look like a book when it's just a single sheet of shortcuts. But yeah, that one looks pretty good actually. I don't use Envato. I'm not signed up to them, but they do seem like they come up with lots of different things. They've got lots of good stuff, and there's quite a few there, isn't it? And they are pretty decent images. This has moved on since I've ever looked at actually using a service to do these. There was a couple that I saw that were like free ones where you just upload an image and it just looks like a book. I haven't used those ones before, but this one looks pretty good actually. So that is about all that I was going to cover today, actually. Just those 2 different ways of creating the landing pages, one being the correct way using pipelines and one being creating the page, which is what I ended up doing just because I was in a rush yesterday. But thanks, Carly, for that little thing about the URL. So that's what I've got to do. I've got to go and now duplicate my original landing page and then make a new URL for it. So yeah, just another short one of my daily live streams today. I've got, what did I do with my videos yesterday? I've made a little bit more progress. I'm not really getting a massive amount of, headway in front of myself, which I was kind of hoping I would do, but hey ho, stuff comes up, doesn't it? But I will try and increase the output over the next few days, and hopefully I'll be ahead of everything, rather than just sort of keeping up with it. So that is all for today. Thank you for stopping by, and thanks again, Carly, for getting me onto Kajabi in the first place, and then for that tip. It's perfect. And now I'm looking, my loop deck stopped working today, or at least let me just have a look. Is it? Yeah, no, it's still not talking to Ecamm for some reason. So all the more reason to learn the keyboard shortcuts. Cool. I will catch you all a little bit later. Have a wonderful day, everyone, as I